Before we get into it, if you want to know everything our guy Kratos went through before this, check out one of the recap videos I don't have the patience to make myself. This game has minor references to the past, but nothing a newcomer absolutely needs to know. So after dealing with the family bullshit from the previous games, Kratos is now living in the woods, rocking the dad beard and chopping down trees while I try to figure out how he's not freezing his ass off. He and his son Atreus, who from this point on will be referred to as Boy, are building a pyre for his deceased wife and Boy's mother, Faye. And without giving themselves more than 30 seconds to properly mourn her passing, Kratos' hard ass tells Boy to show him how he hunts. Up to this point, Mom did most of the caretaking while Kratos hunted and did god shit. Kratos needs to see if Boy is ready for the journey ahead, as Faye wants her ashes scattered from the tallest peak in the realms. Instead, they get attacked by this thing. Kratos snaps its neck and Boy loses it as he starts talking shit to a dead body. Didn't say anything while I was alive though, huh? Boy, you were not ready. Fuck you mean, Dad? Get your ass inside, boy. Kratos takes a moment to collect his lover's ashes, scolds his son about controlling his anger, but then someone starts banging on the front door. Again, it's freezing outside, and dude's acting like his balls are in solid ice. Mullet Leaf Erickson starts talking shit. Kratos is trying to be cool like, you don't want this fight. But this idiot proceeds to pimp slap the ghost of Sparta.
Guide my pimp hand and make it strong, Lord.
Kratos gives him one final warning since this prick doesn't know he fucked up most of the Greek gods, but asshole tries him again.
Punks jump up to get beat down.
He wants hands, so Kratos gives them to him as they start beating the hell out of each other. Eventually, Kratos crushes him with this massive boulder.
That is a nice boulder.
So that's it, right?
Nope.
As the fight continues, we find out he was sent by Odin, king of the Norse gods, and he can't feel. I'm sorry, what? Well, he definitely won't now as Kratos snaps man's neck and drops him into the ravine. Kratos walks back like,
Oh shit, here we go again.
grabs his things, and takes his 11-year-old son, who literally just stood at his mother's funeral, on a dangerous quest to the mountain peak. Eventually, they run into this dwarf blacksmith named Brock. He looks like Gargamel finally fucked a Smurf, and this is the result. He and his brother Sindri made Kratos' axe before they split, and Brock offers to upgrade it throughout the journey. They go hunting again, Boy shoots a tattooed boar, and now this hippie lady's tight because they shot her friend. Yes, she's talking about the boar. Must be lonely in the woods. They follow the Witch of the Woods to her giant Master Uguay house and stabilize the boar. She asks Boy to get some herbs outside, and while he's gone calls Kratos out like, I know you're a god. Tell your son the truth. We don't even know you, lady! Sus! Kratos is hiding the truth in an effort to protect Boy from his past. You can't trust this lady who's already knows too much, so Kratos tries to dip, but before they leave, she offers a protection rune to hide them from anyone dangerous. The witch puts them back on their path as they reach a lake riddled with statues of Norse gods. Kratos asks Boy about the god that could feel no pain, which sounds like Balder, son of Odin. They find a statue with some runes, follow its instructions, and the whole lake starts going wild. A giant bearded snake pops out of nowhere, and this is the world serpent. It says something in ancient gibberish that no one can understand, then continues its nap out in the mountains. The serpent's upheaval caused the water levels to drastically lower, revealing a massive temple that Kratos and Boy use to continue toward the mountain. Eventually they run into Sindri, Garglesmer's brother, despite looking like an NPC from Psychonauts. He too offers to upgrade the axe throughout the journey. They finally get to the mountain base, but the path is blocked by a black mist, which then conveniently appears out of nowhere to inform them that it's the Black Breath, aka magical halitosis. Its stank is so powerful only the light of Alfheim can break through, the purest of breath mints. Kratos still thinks she's sus, but the witch has a cryptic past she wants to atone for. That's why she's helping them. As they travel, the witch informs them the temple is Tyrs, one of the very few gods that was considered good and sought peace. No one knows where the big ass snake came from, but once it appeared, Thor attacked it because he's an asshole, and they've been at war ever since. Inside Tyr's temple, the witch shows them how to travel between realms, but the giants in the bridge to their realm, Jotunheim, disappeared over 100 years ago. They get to Alfheim, the witch shows them the light, and then gets force pulled back to Midgard for reasons we're not going to get into. They slaughter an army of dark elves who look like Aztec pixies, and free the light by destroying the whole hive. Kratos enters the light and goes on a vision quest about being a shitty father until Boy finally pulls him out. Boy's rightly pissed because this 11-year-old had to fight off a small army by himself while Kratos is chilling. Best dad ever. They get back to the Black Breath, give it the tic-tac of the gods, and continue their way up the mountain until Dragon! This big-ass, electric-breathing, Elden Ring-ass dragon busts in trying to ruin everyone's day. But Kratos ain't no bitch. Calm yourself, boy. Let me cook. Dude jumps into its fucking mouth and just starts slicing. Then uses a giant Viking claw machine to impale its head, impales its neck with an exploding crystal, and boom! Bodied.
Oh my god, that was badass!
Sindri's over here losing his shit while our man's is like, dragon was in my way, so I moved it. As thanks for saving his life, Sindri gives Boy special arrows and Kratos uses one to fix Boy's quiver. Finally, they reach the summit, but Balder's there with Thor's sons talking to a tree. Huh? I thought Balder was dead. And why is there a man in a tree? This is Mimir, knower of all things within the realms and has the answer to every question. So why does Boulder hunt them? Apparently not every question. However, he does know the tallest peak, which is in Jotunheim, realm of the giants. The same realm they can't get to with Tyr's temple realm travel thing. Fortunately, there's another way, as the last known bridge is literally right here. They just need a few things to open it. Mimir offers to help, but he's stuck in the tree. They need to cut his head off. What? Odin's an asshole who'd trap Mimir in the tree. There's no way to free him, so Kratos has to literally cut his head off and take it Mortal Kombat style to the witch who might be able to reanimate him. They find the witch who starts tripping about the arrows boy got from Sindri. They're dangerous and need to be destroyed. She replaces the arrows and then brings Mimir back to life, who calls her Freya. Wait, the goddess Freya? As we know, Kratos doesn't like gods, so he puts the talking head on his belt and leaves. Mimir's head says the world serpent is technically a giant and should have information they need regarding opening the gate. Luckily, Mimir speaks this ancient gibberish and wakes it up using the temple's horn. The serpent decides to eat Thor's statue because fuck him, and once it starts talking to Mimir, it doesn't take long for me to realize this ancient language is the same one Dora uses when she speaks to whales.
Dory.
What are you doing? Dory. Dory, this is not whale.
In order to open the bridge to Jotunheim, they need the special travel rune and a magical chisel. Mimir guides them to the chisel, which is lodged in this dead giant's head and under seemingly impenetrable ice, at least until they drop a literal giant hammer on it. Just before reaching the chisel, they get jumped by Thor's sons, and these two assholes who think it's a good idea to try the Ghost of Sparta. As you'd guess, it's a bad idea, as one of them gets his head split straight in two. The other runs away like a little bitch. Kratos grabs the chisel piece he needs and heads back to Tyr's temple. The serpent also said the giants gave Tyr the rune they need, and it's likely locked away in a secret vault. In the temple, that bitch that ran away catches our guy with a cheap shot. He talks about Faye while Boy fails to do anything useful. And as baby Thor continues to goad Boy, Boy starts raging, but fizzles out like he just short-circuited. Kratos shows Lightning Jack Black what real Spartan rage is, and guy runs away like a little bitch. Again. Boy's messed up and Kratos rushes him to Freya, finally showing true concern for his son. The illness was caused by a conflict between Boy's true nature and what he believes himself to be. Ultimately, Kratos' attempt to hide the truth and protect Boy is causing the illness. In order to correct this error, Kratos has to go to the realm of the dead, Helheim, and rip out the heart of the gatekeeper. Basically, just do what you do best, Kratos. Freya warns Hell is relentlessly cold. Fires don't burn, and Kratos' axe will be useless. He needs something else. Kratos simply says, "I must return home. Dig up a past I swore would stay buried." And this is the part where all the OG fans are like, "Oh shit!" as they try not to jizz their pants. Freya watches over Boy while Kratos heads back home, opens the floorboard, and no fucking way reveals the blaze of chaos he used to completely massacre Greek mythology. He continues the massacre as he gives Hell's Gatekeeper a Spartan rhinoplasty, rips open dude's chest, and takes his heart. Low-key feel bad for the Gatekeeper though, he was just doing his job. Kratos brings Freya the heart, and as she's helping Boy, very cryptically tells Kratos about her issues with her own boy. At birth, the runes foretold his death, and she did what she needed to save him. However, there was a cost which caused resentment within her child, and Freya has not seen her son since. I know, cryptic, hopefully it'll make sense soon. Boy finally wakes up, and with his son saved, Kratos silently shakes Freya's arm. My guy, she brought your kid back from the brink, and you couldn't even say thank you? As they are leaving Freya's place, Kratos finally drops the bomb. I am a god, boy. So this 11-year-old kid finds out he is a god, and the first thing he says is, "Can I turn into an animal?" What? After a brief yet touching family moment, they head back to Tyr's temple in search of the rune, and get a quick history lesson on Tyr. He was the god of war, but one that focused on peace. Heroic and lawful, he used his knowledge and power to stop wars and shared his knowledge with everyone. This led to his collaboration with the giants, and is likely why they trusted him with the tools needed to access Jotunheim. In the vault, they work their way through the traps, and the last one manages to rub off Freya's protection rune. Just before getting Tyr's rune, Kratos gives Boy the knife he made for him when he was born. Am I a man now? No, we are more than that. The responsibility is far greater, as Kratos teaches responsible godhead to his son with the Spider-Man speech. They get the rune, but it crumbles, and Boy gets fancy RGB tattoos. While leaving the vault, Boy asks Kratos why he left home. Kratos decides to keep his past a secret because we all know how well that worked out last time. Now they have the chisel and rune, they head back to the mountain summit, but this time, the cocktail of preteen hormones and godly hubris starts to mix and turns Boy into a total dick. Little man straight up destroys the homie Sindri, and all he ever did was improve your gear, you little asshole. He even goes as far to disrespect Kratos and his late mother. Nah. Then they run into Thor's son again. He got messed up by Daddy Lightning for running away. He's now all but dead, but Boy thinks he's hard, talks his shit, and draws his knife. Kratos' wisdom tells Boy to chill. He is beaten, not worth killing. Fuck you, Dad. He's talking about Mom, and shanks the dude right in his throat and pushes him into the ravine. The fuck are you doing, Boy? There are consequences to killing a god. How do you know? As I take this moment to circle back to Kratos' decision to hide his past. This tension continues as they work their way to the summit and reach the gate. With the rune and chisel, they finally open the bridge to Jotunheim and can fulfill Faye's wish. Until Balder crashes the party, and impaled Kratos urges his son to cross the bridge. But remember, Boy's an arrogant asshole now. He attacks Balder like, no, I'm a god too! But Boy still doesn't get it.
Silly bitch, your weapons cannot harm me. Don't you know who the fuck I am? I'm the Juggernaut.
Just like he did to Kratos, Balder pimp slaps the shit out of Boy like he's Bernie Mac.
Hi, I'm with the Port Commission.
I'm from the Athlete's Foot Foundation.
Brother. Hey, can you get my demo tape to somebody?
Kratos doesn't appreciate anyone hitting his kids, so he straight up body slams Balder into the closest hard place he could find, ill-advised since that hard place was the stone gate of Jotunheim. The gate crumbles as Balder continues to talk shit. Kratos tries to stop Boy since he's clearly not ready. Fuck you, Nad, as he puts an arrow through Kratos' chest. His own father? Little idiot tries to take on Balder alone, gets caught by his throat, stabbed in the shoulder, and now he's getting kidnapped. Desperate to save his son, Kratos jumps off the highest summit in Midgard, somehow manages to land on Balder's ride, and now they're beating the hell out of each other on a fucking dragon. As the fight continues, Balder attempts to send them all to Asgard until Kratos does the Bifrost equivalent of hitting all the buttons on the elevator and instead launches them all to hell. Kratos takes his opportunity to put Boy back in his place. Get your shit together, Boy. We are here because of you. And starts searching for a way back. As they traverse this frigid wasteland, visions of their past attempt to torment them, as that's part of the punishment you get when you're in hell. The homies manage to eavesdrop on Balder's vision. Balder is Freya's son? Wait, does that mean she was married to Odin? There's an interesting backstory here that we don't have time for, but the important thing is Balder is the son Freya saved from death with her goddess voodoo. Now he can't die or feel pain, but there is a side effect. He also can't feel, taste, or smell anything. This has driven him mad and has been trying to reverse the curse ever since. This has also made Balder hate Freya to the point of almost killing her, but instead, he banished her from his life.
Let the hate flow through you.
To get out of hell, they have to fly a boat, yes, you heard that right, out of hell's depths and back to the Bridge of the Damned, but end up jumping into the nearest building as the boat is getting destroyed. Lucky for them, they jump into Odin's secret chamber. Extra lucky for them, they find a missing lore panel about Tyr that tells them of a secret passage to Jotunheim. They ask Brock about the special key they need, who's reluctant to make it, until Sindri magically shows up, and the two decide to end their feud just like that. The reunited brothers forge the key, and Kratos uses it to access a secret area underneath the realm travel room. They solve Tyr's puzzle by flipping the entire structure upside down, and Boy is finally coming to his senses as he talks about unity and other stuff I'm gonna get yelled at in the comments of this video because I'm neglecting in-depth character development and a plot summary. Great Scott! Kratos found the Unity Stone! The fuck is a Unity Stone? Well, if having a multi-realm wasn't confusing enough, now we can travel to the realm between realms, which is likely how Tyr accessed the secret path to Jotunheim. With the stone, they take a leap of faith that would make Ezio shit his pants and find themselves in front of the missing tower gate of Jotunheim. They put the stone in the pedestal, and the tower transports itself across the realms until it's finally back in Midgard. However, they still can't travel to Jotunheim because they don't have the right travel crystal for the Bifrost. Tyr used special crystals in his eyes, the same eye crystals that Mimir has, but because Odin's the worst, he stole one of Mimir's eyes and put it in the Thor statue. Yes, the same one the world serpent ate. Mimir gets his Dorian and speaks whale to the serpent asking if they can go inside him.
Giggity.
And because the serpent's a real one, he lets the crew get their Pinocchio on as they row a boat straight into its stomach. Thankfully, they manage to find the stone and stick it back into Mimir's head, but as they're rowing their way out, something's wrong. The boat starts rocking and everything goes dark until they're spit out of the serpent as it collapses. Freya flies in confused as well until, oh shit, it's Balder. He's after Kratos since their last fight went unfinished. Freya attempts to mend her broken relationship with her son, but Balder wants vengeance, a path Kratos knows too well as he tries to caution Balder from taking it. Balder's not listening, so the two start fighting again. Freya attempts to stop the fight, but only ensnares Kratos. Boy tries to protect his father until he catches a nasty
Holcomb punch!
Remember that arrow Kratos used to repair Boy's quiver? The same arrows that Freya wanted destroyed? It got lodged in Baldur's hand, and now it is dispelling Freya's magic. That's why she was tripping about those arrows. She was still trying to protect her son. Baldur's hype he can finally feel, and Kratos realizes he's vulnerable now. Like a psycho, Baldur wants to continue fighting, but Freya's not having it as she resurrects the biggest fucking zombie I've ever seen. Freya then uses the lobotomy giant to relocate Kratos, pleading that she can reason with her son. Lady, that ship sailed 100 years ago, and everyone except your delusional ass knows it. Now Kratos and Baldur are going at it in an epic boss fight that has a fucking giant messing with the battlefield. It's got everything. Boy manages to channel his inner Hawkeye, Kratos catches Baldur with the Undertaker's special move and mercilessly beats the fuck out of him the way he deserves. Right when Giant is about to turn them into popsicles, Boy learns how to speak whale and certain homie rolls up and bites the shit out of the Giant's head. I'm telling you, shit is wild. Now Kratos is choking a bitch like he's Wayne Brady, but Freya begs him to stop. A slightly more mature Boy also reminds his father Baldur's been beaten. Not worth killing. The wise and merciful Kratos lets him go with conditions, including not harming his mother Freya. Against all morality, Kratos allowed Baldur to live. He's free of his curse and can feel now. So what does Baldur do? Turns out his mommy issues are too strong, so he immediately turns around and pulls a Wayne Brady on Freya. And she's just letting it happen because she'll do anything to make amends with her son. But Kratos is like, nah fam, ain't going down like that. The cycle ends here. We must be better than this. Snap! Breaks Baldur's neck like nothing. That dude is dead. Now Freya's losing her shit because the son that hated her his entire life is now dead. Kratos gets his Obi-Wan on and says, Baldur did that himself. But Freya doesn't give a shit. She goes extra hard when she threatens,
I will rain down every agony, every violation imaginable upon you. I will parade your cold body from every corner of every realm and feed your soul to the vilest filth in hell. That is my promise.
Boy says what most of us are thinking. Bitch, he saved your life. She says he robbed her of everything, and I'm over here like,
You have done that yourself.
Freya calls Kratos out. Kratos straight up like,
Me, son!
she says, does the boy? And then Kratos spills everything. Boy, I am from Sparta. I sold my soul to the gods and killed everything, including my father. As Freya leaves with her dead son, Boy starts questioning what it means to be a god, but Kratos assures him that he will not be who Kratos was. They will be better. With the help of Mimir's eyes, they finally make it to Jotunheim. In a pivotal moment for his character arc, Kratos removes his arm bandages as he has nothing left to hide, freeing himself from the secrets that had been haunting him for so long. And after being nagged the entire game, he finally lets Boy carry his mother's ashes. Within the mountain, they find etchings of Fae and the events that have transpired throughout the game. This entire journey was foretold by the giants. Holy shit! Does that mean Frey's the giant? This means Boy's part god, part giant? Quick side note, it's mentioned earlier in the game that quote-unquote giant is just a race like human or dwarf. One can be a giant without being 100 stories tall. But Kratos had no clue about Faye's secret, and figures out that Baldur was after her not knowing she was dead. But why? Why keep it all a secret? And what is happening in this final etching? At last, they make it to the peak, and for the first time, Kratos calls Boy son, as they spread Faye's ashes together. They say their final goodbyes, but there's one last thing Atreus doesn't understand. Why do the etchings refer to him as Loki? Holy shit! He's Loki? That's the name his mother wanted to call him, but went with Kratos' name instead. But seriously, he's fucking Loki? 3 years after the events of the last game, Kratos is still sad about his dead wife. Atreus finally earned his name, and they're heading back after a recent hunt. On their way, oh shit, it gets real already. Freya's still pissed about the whole killing her son thing, and it's coming for that ass. I mean, Kratos did save her life, and Baldur was an asshole who both abandoned and tried to kill his mother multiple times, but you know, it's fine. Get off me, bitch! Yeah, no. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and this scorned ass mama's ex-Valkyrie queen has been trying to kill Kratos for 3 years. Fuck off me, lady. I have no quarrel with you. They get away from Rampage Rhonda, then Atreus' wolf dies. It hasn't been a good day. As Atreus is telling it to go to sleep, blue lights fly out of it, and immediately Kratos' Zangief head ass is like, now we train. What? Dude, the kid's best friend just died. God Damn, Kratos, give him a break. Rebellious teen Fohawk pushes back, saying Fimbulwinter, or the endless winter that it's currently experiencing, leads to Ragnarok and a massive war that will end the world. Dad, it's the prophecy. I'm Loki, and I'm supposed to be doing stuff, not training in the woods. Kid Loki sounds like Allen Iverson.
We talking about practice.
As Atreus is burying the best boy, Kratos rests and has a vision of his wife. Turns out the god of war, who was forged in the flames of battle and uses chaos blades, is also in a fire crotch. No surprise there. Faye imparts words of wisdom about responsibility and power, basically the OG Spider-Man movie speech, and ends with, "Time is running out," causing Kratos to wake up in a panic. The all-knowing talking head and belt ornament, Mimir, says Atreus is not returned. They head out to find him when Kratos gets mauled by this big-ass bear. And after wrestling Tekken's Kuma to the ground, hold up, Atreus is a shapeshifter? Kratos is losing it since he just beat the shit out of his kid, and after learning emotion controls the transformation, advises his son to train to control these new abilities. Fuck you, Dad. I don't need training. I need answers.
Practice.
As Atreus' arc of being a annoying little shit continues. They get back home and try to get some sleep until boom! Something starts breaking the house. Why is everything in the beginning of these games trying to destroy their house? And after he does, has the balls to be like, I brought drinks. Man, fuck you. Oh shit, it's Fat Thor? After silently dick measuring for what seems like forever, one-eyed Richard Schiff walks in. And if you didn't get that reference because your wife doesn't make you watch shows about autistic doctors, then call him malnourished Davos. Or you could just call him Odin because that's his name. Quick recap, Kratos killed his grandsons and Thor's sons in the last game, and Baldur, who was Odin's son and Thor's brother. In case you forgot, Freya was with Odin before he cursed her and took her Valkyrie wings. All that said, Odin wants peace. You no kill me, I no kill you, and baby Seth here gets to stop looking for Tyr. Cool? No. Thor sucker punches, hammers Kratos, and now they're beating the hell out of each other until Thor says Odin has plans for his boy. Doom! Kratos rocks Thor's shit like, keep my kid's name out your fucking mouth, causing Thor to fly away. Kratos rushes back home and finds Atreus, who says Odin invited him to Asgard. Then Kratos has one of those classic parent moments when after the relief of your child's safety has subsided, you're ready to beat his ass as he calls Atreus out for going behind his back to search for Tyr. But Dad, this Odin thing isn't over. Let me show you what I found. Kratos reluctantly follows his son to a shrine that reveals a prophecy about Ragnarok. Tyr is leading an army against Odin, which means he must be alive, right? Atreus also shows his father the marble he found. Says he's been to other shrines and that one of them showed Tyr imprisoned. They figure out Tyr is likely being held in the realm of dwarves and conveniently run into one of the dwarf homies soon after. Sindri takes them to his home in the realm between realms, and he and his blockhead Smurf brother Brock use Mimir to reopen the realm travel. They get to the dwarf realm, decapitate a bunch of Battletoads, and find a city official who's been secretly resisting Odin's occupation. He hands them a map to Tyr, requiring the two to take this tiny-ass dwarf train that got Kratos looking like one of those awkward-ass parents. They fight through the mine, beat the hell out of Odin's sting wannabes, and instead of simply opening the door, rip the whole thing down because Kratos has to be extra. Unfortunately, Tyr, the Norse god of war, is now a scared little bitch who runs away when Kratos shows him Mimir's decapitated head. Maybe not the best idea to lead with that. They catch up to tall Jesus, who continues to be scared punk until Kratos grabs this man like, "Get your shit together, we're leaving." They do, and on the way learn Tyr isn't just a bitch. He's a hippie pacifist who lost all will to fight. They get back to the dwarf house, Tyr gets some rest, and even though they just had a whole thing about trust, Atreus' dumbass is eavesdropping on Mimir and his pops talking about Freya. Then this idiot thinks, what if I recruited the lady who's been trying to kill us the last 3 years? So he and Sindri sneak out to go find her. They have another conversation with the giant dory whale talking snake thing. It says something about ironwood, but we don't have time to figure that out right now. Atreus gets to Freya's camp, and as you'd expect, the kid gets caught, wrapped up in Freya's creepy-ass Jumanji vines. Atreus pleads with Freya, telling her about Odin, the dead giants, he's a giant, basically everything she doesn't know since she's been cursed never to leave Midgard. He also mentions they saved Tyr, makes one final plea for help, but just gets his ass tossed like,
"Get off me, child's play!"
When Atreus returns, Kratos says they're going to the Elf Realm to find another shrine that might give them more information. The Elf Realm is still plagued by constant war between the Light and the Dark Elves, and this time Kratos is forced to mutilate the Light side, who all seem to be working for the Sons of the Harpy. They get to the Light of Alfheim, Kratos is tempted to enter the Light again until Atreus is like, "Nah fam, I'm not going through that shit again, keep it moving." They find the shrine, open the secret portal to the Norse reading rainbow, and learn Groa, a mystic prophet, had a vision of Ragnarok. Odin heard about it, killed her because he's an asshole, and Ironwood pops up again as Tyr informs them it's a sanctuary for giants, but unfortunately it's more concept than place. sorry, what? The prophecy foretells Ragnarok, the realms being united under a champion, Asgard getting destroyed, and Odin dying. Most of which Groa never told Odin, so he's working under a false prophecy. Atreus assumes the champion is Tyr, but he's still a little bitch who wants nothing to do with the prophecy. Despite this, the kid's hyped for war since the prophecy depicts them winning, but Kratos isn't amused. He understands war's true cost. Tyr plants the idea that Loki might be the champion, and as you'd guess, his arrogance only gets worse. But Dad, the journey Mom put us on, the prophecy, what if Loki needs to go to Ironwood? You are Atreus! Fuck you, Dad! As the child retreats to his room to talk shit under his breath and threaten to run away to no one in particular. Sindri convinces the kid to go to sleep, who knocks out thinking about Ironwood, only to then wake up in another world where young Street Fighter VI Kimberly can paint the future. Prophet Barbarossa is Angrboda, another giant who preserves the history of her people through prophetic paintings. And as we mentioned before, Atreus, or Loki, or whatever the hell you want to call him at this point, is in Ironwood. She takes him to her place. He sees the shrine from the last game's ending, but this time he sees the whole thing that Kratos saw, including his father's death and him serving Odin. Kid loses his mind, spontaneously turning into a wolf, and thinks it's a good idea to try to beat up a rock. Angrboda calms him down, but then starts yelling at him about fate as they have this whole free will versus God plan argument. To get his mind off things, she offers to teach him giant stuff, but all they really do is chores, like feeding a yak version of number 4, collecting fruit, and pulling roots. This chick is basically the Matrix prophet, knows a bunch of stuff, but is ultimately useless because she doesn't actually tell us anything. Atreus finds out there's a soul in his knife somehow, he begins to control his shapeshifting, and the giants aren't really dead. Well, kinda. They're just winning a legendary game of hide and seek. They were tired of living in fear and decided to hide by putting their souls into the marble things Atreus has been finding. Basically, the marbles are Pokeballs for giant souls. Angrboda is the keeper of the marbles, but quickly says, "Tag, you're it. You're responsible for the preservation of our people now. Good luck." She makes him promise to keep Ironwood a secret, and after teaching him how to put a soul in a hollow snake, he helps her break Grandma's shit to keep Fee-Fi-Fo Aunt Jemima here from stealing any more animal souls. Imagine you're this giant who spent forever hiding in a marble Pokeball to hide from Norse Edgar Allan Poe, only to wake up in a shitty movie starring Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube. I felt real bad for that snake. And if one series of family trauma wasn't enough, we get treated to another family squabble as Atreus tries to comfort his new friend. Seems like a small thing in this video, but fuck me, did Sweet Baby Inc. drag the emotional turmoil out of this game. It's all good though. Apparently it's called character development, even though we barely know this character at all. Eventually Atreus transports himself home, has to fight for his life against White Walkers. After all, Fimbulwinter is here. Kratos swoops in pissed because his son's been gone for 2 days and he's tired of the lies. "I'm just trying to keep your ungrateful ass alive. Why don't you appreciate shit?" Ungrateful ass kid yells back like, "You and Mom kept secrets, why can't I?" Shoom! Tantrum is cut short by a wingless Valkyrie starts attacking them, and guess who that is? Because our guy is holding back, Freya gets the better of Kratos and is ready to roll heads until Atreus loses it again and animorphs into a bear, only to get wrestled down by his pops. Conflicted with her own emotional turmoil, she decides to spare Kratos so he can help her break the curse that binds her to Midgard. He and everyone's favorite shit-talking Smurf. They head to Freya's homeworld, Norse Jumanji, and it turns out she can remain in the realm so long as she shapeshifts. After they traverse a jungle full of exploding ball sacks and phallic flowers that spew white stuff, they meet Freya's twin brother Freyr, because that's not confusing at all. He continues to lead this realm's resistance against Odin's occupation, you know, since his family married Freya to Odin for peace but instead got fucked by him as well. Continuing to free Freya, she and Kratos bond over how screwed up their histories are until they find the source of the curse.
Surprise, motherfucker!
That is also being guarded by a massive realm-traveling lizard guardian. After stabbing it in the face and catching it with the Quan Chi portable fatality, Freya is finally free from Odin's bind. And after everything they've been through, and after passing the talking stick and the circle sharing and all the kumbaya therapy bullshit, Freya's still on the fence about killing our guy. Really? Spoiler, Odin's the greater enemy, so they cool now. Yay, character development. Speaking of, Freya also has a jacked up relationship with her brother that needs tending to, so we get to another kumbaya moment when they get back to camp. All while Demon Fern Gully here in the background looking real awkward. Freya free, they head back to Dwarf House as she tries to convince Kratos that war might be a necessary evil to stop Odin's greater evil. But Kratos is not having it. He's had enough war and only wants to protect his son. Kratos rolls up on his son like, "This shit ain't over. Where have you been? It's my life. What do you care? You don't even trust me because you've been lying to me this entire game. Looks like it runs in the family."
Got him! You want answers?
I want the truth!
The truth is you're being a complete asshole.
Whoa. Did this child really just call the god of war an asshole? Family therapy continues to go awry as Atreus' insubordination redlines. He's thinking about going to Asgard to see Odin, prompting the entire squad to be like, are you out of your fucking mind?
Great. I guess everybody's against me now.
No shit, Atreus. Odin's solely responsible for the misery of half your fucking squad. Of course they're gonna be against you. Ego won't let the kid admit he's wrong, so he throws a tantrum by losing control again and busts out the door. Extra tight, Kratos hits his son with the serious symbolism for the deterioration of their relationship. As Atreus is running away, he continues to talk shit under his breath, believing he's doing all of this to save his father, since he saw the prophecy in Ironwood. Eventually, a Crow-NATO teleports him to Asgard. He has to climb Nickelodeon Guts' aggro crag, and when he gets to the top, Heimdall, the watchman of Aesir, another Odin son, and a complete asshole, threatens to throw him off the wall, but decides to fight him instead. Until Odin shows up and puts his arrogant ass kid in his place, sensing another theme here. After a quick tour, Odin argues with his bird, gives Loki an upgraded Yondu stick, and explains that more than anything, he wants answers. For lifetimes, Odin has been researching a reality tear, trying to figure out how to access it, as he believes it contains infinite knowledge, even the knowledge to change one's fate. Odin hands the boy a broken mask, who is able to translate a clue regarding the pieces. Why there's an etched-in clue of the location of the other pieces on this mask is beyond me, but here we are getting our national treasure on. The clue sends Loki and Thor to the generic lava world every action game has, and as Thor is killing things, Loki sneaks away to learn more about Surtur, the giant of this realm. Prophecy foretells that Surtur, or the Norse human Torch, gets with Elsa, and their union morphs them into a massive creature also known as Ragnarok, that destroys Asgard. Also interesting, Surtur's not in a marble. He links back up with Thor, gets the second mask piece, and returns to Odin. As Loki's trying to translate the updated mask, Kratos is desperate to find his son and decides to seek out the Norns, or the goddesses of fate. OG fans might remember Kratos' last meeting with fate. Didn't go so well, but
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
they ride a seaweed horse to Aquaman's secret lair, where the Norns, like most prophets, annoyingly fail to speak plainly. One just narrates everything, the other monologues everyone's dialogue real time, but at least the third is semi-coherent. She says fate isn't even real. Everyone's just so predictable, it's easy for the fates to call what happens. We all are the sum of our choices, and as a god killer, they know Kratos will kill Heimdall after learning he plans to kill Atreus. Well, I guess that seed's been planted. Rightfully annoyed, they leave but come across a noose Odin used to try to hang himself back in the day. Freya decides to hold on to it, just in case. Wink. As you'd guess, Kratos is ready to take Heimdall's head, but that is easier said than done, considering he's the god of foresight. To counter that, they take a ring of cloning and a spearhead to an all-powerful blacksmith merlady, who transforms it into a cooler version of the One Ring. Along the way, Freya, who's still hell-bent on war at this point, is trying to convince Kratos to be their champion, because Tyr's still a pacifist hippie bitch. But Kratos still is not having it. Missing his wife and now his child, and is understandably tired as fuck, Kratos tries to get some rest, only to wake up in another mission. Just after Atreus' birth, Faye is trying to convince Kratos to let go of his past and protect his future, his son. Kratos wakes up restless and starts punching a wall. If you ever need to lock in and focus your mind, punch a wall. But not actually, because that shit hurts. Back to Loki, he translates the updated mask, so Odin sends him and his granddaughter Thrud to Helheim. She's this chick who looks like a less terrifying Carrot Top. Heimdall's going too, but thankfully his asshole leaves immediately to do some other mission. As they fight through hordes of White Walkers, they bond over their teen issues as Thrud complains about wanting to be a Valkyrie, but her mom won't let her. Her family also has deep-seated trauma, because who doesn't in this game? More on that later. The mask leads them to a chained-up giant wolf. Loki's dumbass immediately goes, "He wants to be free!" and convinces Thrud to help him let loose Garm, a feral hellhound that creates tears between realms and eats entire metaphysical concepts. To make things worse, they also hit a dead end because the mask isn't glowing anymore. I swear, why is there always an ignorant-ass kid in these games making life difficult for everyone else? Atreus is as bad as Haruka, which low-key makes Kratos Kiru, starts with K, red and white design, beats the shit out of all his problems. Oh shit, God of War is Pantheon Yakuza? Except Kiru doesn't kill. Heimdall shows up and is the first to comment on Loki's ignorance, gut punching him in the process. This plus all the shit talking Heimdall does about Thor sends Thrud off the edge as she attempts to beat the hell out of her uncle until Loki pulls her back. Back in Asgard, Odin's like, "Everyone makes mistakes, son, but you really fucked up." And because he's a punk running from his problems, Loki simply says he wants to go home. He hands back the mask, the floaty sword, and runs back home to Daddy, who's busy fighting back the invasion of Dwarf House since Garm is ripping realm tears all over the place. Situation under control, Atreus misses his pops. Kratos finally shows his son some empathy, which allows him to explain his giant wolf-sized mistake, leading the group to appropriately react.
Garm,
Great bleeding fuck, lad. You feed Garm. This is a fuck up of not insignificant proportions.
Because character development, Kratos defends his son, remaining focused on the problem at hand. And how does Kratos solve problems? That's right. He kills them. As they hunt Garm, they very cryptically discuss what each other has been up to since they're starting to trust each other, but nothing actually gets said because it's complicated. They find Garm, give it the giant wolf equivalent of 1,000 pinpricks, and quote-unquote solve the problem. But not for long because it's a soulless beast that can't die. Garm literally chews Kratos and spits him out, catches this toothpick, but nothing's working until Atreus finally gets his head out of his ass and comes up with an idea. He jumps on Garm's back and with the knife Angrboda said had a soul in it, stabs Garm. Does his giant soul voodoo and the knife had Fenrir's soul in it? Fenrir being the wolf that died in the beginning of the game. So Atreus really just reverse Shang Tsung the Hound of Hell and now has his own Clifford. Well, if Clifford was a wolf that could tear through and destroy the fabric of realms. Kratos sends his big ass dog home and they head back. On the way, they attempt another sharing circle as Kratos gets soft on us, admitting he's falling back into his old ways and chased away his son. Meanwhile, Atreus admits to becoming reckless and ruining everything like he likes to do. They have a touching father-son moment and by the decree of character development, promise to keep each other in check. Then we hear something I thought I'd never hear from the god of war.
I am sorry.
Back at Dwarf House, Atreus tells everyone about the mask and Odin's plan, but Freya doesn't care as much as she wants Heimdall's head in war with Odin. She regroups with her brother to prepare, and Kratos and Atreus head to their camp shortly after, but no one's there. No one except Sideburns here, who apparently was the boar Atreus shot in the last game. Awkward. Freya's trying to free her captured brother, but more importantly, they need Kratos and Atreus to wake up celestial wolves so it can be nighttime again. They get the wolves' glowy ball back, shoot an arrow at the moon, and fulfill a prophecy that was shown in the beginning of the game. Under the cover of darkness, they attempt to save Freyr by giving away their position, and as you'd expect, get jumped. This time, it's Heimdall. Freya continues on to save her brother while Kratos stays at the crossroads of fate to fight the god of foresight and his pet Snow Meow. As Heimdall throws out fire insults like,
"Your son sounds like a goose when he gets hurt,"
Kratos uses the spear to disrupt Heimdall's power since he can't foresee it blowing up on him the first time, or the next 20 times you have to use the exact same move, despite there being an obvious tell every single time Kratos has to blow up his spear. Clearly, Heimdall is not the god of adaptability. This continues until Kratos literally pins dude to the wall, but his arrogant asshole won't shut up, causing Kratos to blow his arm off. Then he grows another one like a lizard, and we repeat the same process until Kratos has had enough of his shit. Beats him into the ground, and despite all of the therapy and self-reflection we've done this game, the god killer reverts back to his old ways and chokes this bitch out. When the dust settles, Kratos feels bad about it, but on the real, fuck this guy. Kratos takes the horn that has the power to signal the beginning of Ragnarok and open all the realm gates, a key piece for the inevitable Asgard invasion. Kratos then links up with the squad who's freed the injured Freyr, and like Marshawn Lynch, Kratos puts the team on his back and starts running.
Look at this motherfucking beast. Get the fuck out of me, pussy. Oh, shit. Look at this shit. How the fuck do you get through all these motherfuckers? Look at this shit. Whoa, get the fuck off me, bitch. Pussy. Hey, you little get off me. Child's play? No, you can't take me down. You need more than that. Hey, little boy. Little boy. Damn, a Superman, though. Look at this shit, though. So much determination, though.
They get away on Freyr's blue flying boat thing, but nah. Now wyverns are attacking? The group is getting completely swarmed. This boat has definitely not made to be durable or fast in any way. They are screwed. At least until fake Braveheart guy here, that we have zero attachment to, does the slow-mo reflective death walk and throws himself at both creatures, saving everyone. No, NPC the game wants me to care about but failed to because I didn't do the side content. No, a very sad moment I'm sure, but kinda don't care. As the group mourns the loss of this super important character, Freya brings her injured brother to Dwarf House who's now high off his ass because of medicinal herbs. I hope all that is legal. Kratos shows the group the horn. Freya's hyped they can now take the fight to Odin, but pacifist Tyr continues to puss out and warn about the dangers of war with the Aesir gods. Man, someone tell tall Jesus to shut the fuck up. Despite Kratos' reluctance, Atreus, who's finally found some competence, says their best move is to complete the mask. That's their only leverage over Odin. The rest of the group agrees, and Kratos trusts his son now, so lets him go. Shout out to character development. Sindri gives the homie a get out of jail free card. Atreus heads back to Asgard where they discover the real location of the third piece. Odin tells Loki to take Thor, and with the help of Thrud, finds him drunk off his ass. This is a trigger for Thrud as she and her father get into it about broken promises and broken families, yet another trauma dump. I'm sorry. Super important instance of story and character development. we have to sit through before we get back to the action. Apparently, Thor has some daddy issues and uses alcohol to numb the emotional turmoil. Also, his brother just died, so I guess it makes sense. Weekday tabloid talk shows must salivate over this game like nothing else because every single family cannot seem to get their shit together. This spurs a massive bar brawl, ending with the kids having to carry Thor's drunk fat ass out before continuing the mission. They work their way to the mask piece as Loki tries to bond with a guy who wants nothing to do with him, but the persistent annoyance of his conversation actually starts to mellow Thor out. Or maybe he's just hungover, I don't know. They complete the mask and immediately Odin phases in hype for infinite knowledge, but Thor's wife also phases in pissed off about Heimdall's death. Everything was cool, but then she shows up and starts manipulating Thor's deep-seated trauma, directing it toward Loki. My son's death, Heimdall, turning my father against me, my alcoholism, my gluttony, why Captain America got promoted over me, this is all your fault! Then whoosh! Atreus uses Sindri's gift of GTFO right before getting his head smashed in. Mask in hand, the plan is to find Surtur, summon Ragnarok, blow the horn, and politely knock on Odin's door with the armies of the other realms. Of course, Tyr has an issue with this and instead suggests sneaking into Asgard and using the mask themselves to learn how they can win without war. Atreus agrees as Tyr steps up saying he can lead them there. Hold up, Brock's over here like, where the fuck was this knowledge the entire game? Rightfully, Brock doesn't trust this tall useless motherfucker and calls him out on everything he's been saying, swiping the mask out of his hand, trying to give it back to Atreus. His tiny ass steps up to Tyr one more time and shing! No fucking way. Tyr stabs Brock? Tyr was a shapeshifted Odin? Odin takes Atreus hostage until he goes doggo and bites that ass. Unfortunately, Odin gets away. Even worse, no! Brock dies? I know we haven't talked about him much in this video, but dude was legit the best character in this entire game. Last game too. He gave zero fucks and was funny as hell. Kind of like everyone's favorite YouTube storyteller. After Brock passes away, Kratos straight up like, aight, I'ma head out. Hands Freya the horn and heads home. Distraught from recent events, Atreus wants to go hunting until his pop realizes they are just running from their problems. They find Sindri, who's not doing great himself. The homie is livid and feels massively betrayed since the dwarves did all they could to aid Kratos and Atreus, and all they got in return was Brock's death. After Sindri very plainly tells them to fuck off, they meet up with Freya, this time to unite the realms and bring Odin to justice. While the others try to convince the different realms to join the cause, Kratos and Atreus look for Surtur and begin Ragnarok. They find the Human Torch, who's apparently not immune to his own flames. Dude is extra toasty and immediately tells them to piss off and yeast the asses into another battle. Minions quelled, they pull up on Surtur again, who's refusing to help. He knows about the prophecy and is not willing to sacrifice the ice chick he loves so much. However, he does have her heart, and that cold combined with the fire-imbued chaos blades could be enough to create Ragnarok. They head for the Spark of the World, where Sir Skin Cancer supercharges his flame powers, transfers it into Kratos' blades, and then has Kratos stab him in the heart. Wait, he just follows death? No time for that because, oh shit, two of Odin's Valkyries just crashed the party. However, after spending God knows how many attempts fighting them in the first game, the muscle memory is still there after 3 years. So screw you both, get bodied, as I discover a way cooler box art for this game. Really though, this screenshot goes extra hard. After ripping the Harpy sisters in half, they check on Ragnarok and Omna's voice tells them, I'll wait the call. They regroup with Freya, who's assembled the Valkyries, elves, and Hellwalkers. Tomorrow's the day where they storm the beaches of Asgard and try not to get annihilated like these guys. Once again, Freya asks Kratos to be her champion, who remains reluctant and retires to his tent without an answer. The severed head spends a night with his once Valkyrie lover. I'll let your imagination take the wheel on how that night's gonna go. Atreus is struggling to quiet his mind, seeks the comfort of his father, and when the two fall asleep, Kratos is thrown into another vision with Faye. This time, Faye knows her time is short and is preparing the protection stave that'll keep her family safe after her passing. Faye reminds Kratos about opening your heart to love and grief, the opposite of what dude's been telling his son since the first game. This realization and his profound character development spurs Kratos to be the army's champion the following morning. They give the pre-war hype speech, blow the horn, all the realm gates open, and shit gets real. Dudes are getting slaughtered in the trenches, Thor's fighting the whale talking snake thing, Angrboda brought Hell Clifford, shit is crazy. Oh nah. Surtur went kaiju on us, and now Ragnarok here to destroy everything. Unfortunately, the all-powerful world-ending giant doesn't like war cannons, at least until Sindri's vengeful ass crushes them all in one hit. They realize Odin is using civilians to protect the wall, and as Atreus tries to close his heart to it, Kratos hits a full 180 repeating phase message to their son. Open your heart to their suffering. We will be better. To protect the innocent, Kratos calls an audible and diverts the focus to saving the civilians. While that's going on, the Norse Wonder Twins will try to slow down the strongest thing this universe has ever seen by themselves, and Kratos and his son will try to stop Odin by themselves.
Good luck.
Atreus convinces Thrud not to cut his head off, and with the help of her mother, further convinces her to stop Grandpa's tyranny. They break down the wall, fight through more of Odin's army, and Kratos gets into another brawl with Thor. But this time, his alcoholic ass is drunk on rage. Kratos tries to calm Fat Raiden down by kicking the shit out of him, and after pinning him to the ground, uses the opportunity to talk some sense into him. "You've destroyed everything, including your family. Do better." And as Thor finally settles, Odin pulls up and starts berating his son. "Kill who I tell you to kill." For what I assume to be the first time in his life, Thor thinks for himself, tells his father to fuck off with a simple no. And damn, man catches a whole spear to the heart. Your own kid? There goes Thor's redemption arc. Thrud loses her mind and goes after her grandfather, then probably loses her lunch when she catches that hammer and gets fucking yeeted to Timbuktu. Kratos is now committing elderly abuse by beating the hell out of Odin, but I'll allow it because dude's an ultimate manipulative asshole. But then Kratos gets himself caught in a bind spell. Speaking of, do you remember that completely random noose Freya found that got barely any attention throughout this game and has been mentioned since she found it? Yeah. That's the key that sets up the demise of the main antagonist, as she uses that to grab Odin with her own binding spell. As she's talking to Odin, she emotes on him by showing off her wings. We learn Odin has a bird fetish when he says,
"I forgot how good you look with wings."
But let's not forget, she's not killing him, meaning he ultimately finds a way to free himself. I swear, this trope is in every single action game. They land in Odin's study where he pleads with Atreus to use the mask. Kratos like, "Do you boo-boo?" and snap! Atreus destroys the mask, and Terror disappears, and Odin is pissed that Atreus threw his lifetimes of work away. To be fair, I'd be pissed too if I were Odin, so now they're throwing hands over that shit. But Odin's magic and eye gouging are nothing compared to the sweet choreographed finisher, as Odin gets rocked in his stupid face by 3 haymakers and chokeslammed by a bow. And after that massive ass kicking, Odin still refuses to give up, so Loki calmly puts him to sleep the way he did his wolf, trapping his soul in a Norse Pokeball. That's it. That's how the final boss is defeated. Atreus puts his soul in a marble. I feel robbed, especially as they all pass dude around because no one knows what to do with him next. Then Sindri busts in like, "Give me that shit." Thwack!
Poetic justice.
And phases out as quickly as he arrived to go start his villain arc. Well, guess that's over.
Nope.
Ragnarok's about to kill them all until Freyr holds it back just long enough for Angrboda and Doggo to get them out of there through a realm tear. Atreus wakes up later, talks to those who survived the complete destruction of Asgard, and eventually meets up with Angrboda and his father. She shows them another shrine detailing how Faye allowed them to forge their own path. She went against her own people in order to protect her family. Atreus decides he has to go out alone and find other giants. As the saying goes, gotta catch 'em all. And Kratos, now a better father, supports his son's decision to be a Pokaheim master. They have an uncharacteristically touching father-son moment before Loki hits us with the Captain Morgan pose and heads out to start the new Pal World DLC. Kratos then finds a second shrine and, to his emotional surprise, sees a prophecy where the god of war is revered and worshipped by the people, a fate he never thought possible. Our guy links up with Freya and Mimir, says goodbye to the best character this series has known, and that's God of War Ragnarok.